The technical difficulties, but we're here right now. We are here. We are here. So let's go ahead and look. Let me get started with something fun and something really easy. While I wait for you guys to actually come in, because I feel like what I'm about to share with you, I feel like I need it right now. So we know the importance of drinking water. It's real important to drink water after you've had like a little tech situation. So we're gonna start tonight off with a promo. We're starting with promo, okay? So what you guys are seeing, let me place this in the carousel like right now. So what you're seeing in the carousel right now are these water bottles. That's just where we need to start, okay? All right, let me push this. Make sure that we have the water bottles up in the carousel. Okay, so I have some water bottles up in the carousel right now, and these items are actually 50% off. Now, those of you who are watching and hanging out with us tonight from Facebook, or maybe you're even hanging out from YouTube, we are broadcasting live over on Amazon. So if you want to interact with us, if you have questions, comments, you definitely will want to make sure that you are following over on Amazon. That way you can shop with us. You can take advantage of the 50, 60, 70% off codes. Like, I'm just going to tell y'all, for those of you who have tuned in, one of the lights that I use, actually, it's a set of them. I remember them being like $250, $300. I got those lights on sale with a special code tonight. Those lights are going to be $112. Like, these are lights that I use every single day. So you definitely want to make sure that you come over to Amazon and hang out with us so that you can take advantage of everything that's happening. But tonight, FYI, my special guest is Miss Takisha Artis. Okay. She is a CPA. Some of you may or may not know that it is actually Financial Literacy Month. And I was like, I really wasn't even aware that there was a thing. I just saw that you posted about that, and I was like, oh yeah, this would be super cool. So let's chat, let's talk. So I just want to introduce, she's a CPA. She is full of wealth. She's full of knowledge and information. And she speaks to people who are just like me, someone who is just like you, who may or may not be, or who may be a business owner, who's like, I probably need to do something with my money. Probably need to get my money game together. So she's going to be here tonight. We're going to start by chatting about, like, what is Financial Literacy Month? Because again, yours truly had no clue what that was. So can you just bring us up to speed with that, please?
Absolutely. So for me, it's the time. April is Financial Literacy Month. And for me and most people in the financial industry, the first quarter is us finishing the prior year. Like, most people are thinking, oh, that's the beginning of the year. We're finishing the prior year. So it's a time for us to now say, okay, what are we doing with our finances? Now let's take a look. And realistically, most people have set all of these amazing goals in January, and come March, they still may not have done anything with them. So it's a great restart to looking at, what you are or are not doing with your money. And I just love that it's in April. So yes, it's that time to relook at what your financial goals are, where you are financially, what you haven't been doing, maybe what you want to be doing, and revisiting all of those things.
Oh, I like that. So you are a financial life coach. So, like, kind of break down the essence of that. Like, I feel like I know what that means. And I just kind of like low-key want to take a stab at it. So kind of walk me around. But I feel like you basically help us think differently about what we should be doing about, money, because it affects our life. Is that right? Like, walk me through the process.
Absolutely. That is it. When I have a background in accounting, so I've gone to school, I'm a CPA. And when I started to work with entrepreneurs, what I noticed is that what you do personally with your finances, it kind of trickles over into your business. So if you aren't good with certain aspects personally, you aren't going to be good with them in terms of business. But what I really realized is that I always say I was taught how to manage millions for corporations, but not my thousands. And so when
Ooh.
I started to take a deeper look into why that was, it was the thinking, the thought process that I had been missing. And I think that's why a lot of people, they know what to do. We know to save, we know to invest, right? We know these things, but why don't we? And it's that thought process. It's taking advantage of realizing that maybe it's our thinking, our beliefs, our attitudes about money that's stopping us from having the money. And that's where that financial life coach comes in. We want all of these things. Money really isn't what we want. It's the thing that gets us to what we want. It's just the
Oh.
tool to get us to. We want the lifestyle, we want the financial security, we want the experiences. Money's just the tool to get us there. But we think it's the money, but it's not. We want that feeling. We want that that enjoyment, that happiness. And it's money is just that vessel.
Ooh, that's so good. So I want to pause for just a second and let the people who are watching, we have some viewers on. Please let us know where you guys are actually watching from. And if you have any questions, we'll see if we can get to them. But please hang out with us
Yes.
because there's some special codes. We're going to be sharing some things that I
Mhm.
feel like are very beneficial. If you are an entrepreneur, or even if you're not,
Yes.
I mean, I feel like money is money, right? And you're right, like
Yes.
we all have this story, this something that we've been told about money. I shared with you earlier that I was listening to a book today, and I'm gonna see if I can pull it up in the chat. I may have added it. I know we added some of your favorite books too, but the name of the particular book that I started listening to today is called The Rich Bee. I'll just say that. Let me see if I can pull it up in the chat. So the name of the book is called The Rich Bee. And one of the things I heard her say that I thought was so cool was that she was talking about someone that she was kind of fangirling, right? And the reason why she was
Mhm.
fangirling this particular person was because that person basically had their money ish together, right? And I was like,
Mhm.
ooh, I remember a time because this made me think about what you just said, that we know what to do, but sometimes we don't necessarily do what we're supposed to do. And that book, along with what you said, it really got me thinking. When I worked in corporate, there was a chick, I'm going to drop her name, name's Teresa Graham, and she was that chick who always had her money stuff together. And in fact, one of your clients and sisters always has her money stuff together, which is how I found out about you. So knowing what to do and knowing someone who has their money stuff together is definitely somebody or some people that we should be tracking with, because just being in the midst of those people, I feel like it's motivation to do better. Because you already said we know, but I also believe that there are some people who just don't know, like, what to do, which is one of the things that, I want to ask you, like, what should entrepreneurs be thinking about? Because you said it, I know my brain is going in like 50 million directions. You said it earlier. The way we do one thing is kind of the way we do everything. So if we're this way in our personal finances, we may be the exact same way in our business finances. And so if we have bad money habits, doesn't mean we're not making money. We may just have bad habits. What could we do
Exactly.
to reset the clock? Like, what is maybe like a step one to kind of get us thinking differently about what we should be doing?
Absolutely. And when it comes to money, you can have, like you said, you can be good at making money, but be terrible at managing. Or you could be good at saving money, but you could be very poor in terms of habit, in terms of spending. Or you could be scared of investing and want to hold on to money very tightly. So we have different narratives when it comes to different components of money. And a lot of the time we think that money is, this thing that we all want. And I said it earlier, it's not really the thing. Money's just a tool. but we give so much emotion and narratives and perspectives about money based on what we've heard, based on what we saw, or what we've experienced from childhood, and we carry these stories throughout life with us. And so the problem is you are holding on to a story that you've learned years ago and it no longer serves you. But the problem is you don't know it doesn't serve you until you meet resistance, right?
Uh,
Why can't I do this thing? Or you self-sabotage. Why do I keep doing this thing knowing I know better? And the easiest way for me to tell you how to do something different is, number one, make a decision.
mm,
Make a new commitment. The problem is we made these commitments as a child, right? I'm going to be like this when I get older. I'm going to do this when I get money. I'm going to do this. Or this type of person with money does this. I'm never going to be that way. Well, you can't not like rich people and then expect to be rich. Like, or you know
woo.
what I'm saying? So decide that you're going to change your money story, but also look at what you believe about this different aspect of it. A lot of entrepreneurs my age have been taught you go to college and you get a good job. Well, that is in direct opposition to you now starting a business and making money off of your knowledge, skills, and talent.
I know
So
you gonna go
now
deep. Ooh, that's
So
good.
now you have this tug of war with, I want to be an entrepreneur but and make money this way, but I've been taught this. So now you have to learn how to reframe. What is the new story you are going to tell yourself about this particular situation, and what is the new experience or support that you're going to give with it? We have to constantly be observing what we think about money, how we're handling it. Why did I do that? My best friend, she has a 4-year old, and I'll say, "Well, Cam, why did you do this?" And he's honest. I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't try and cover it up. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, you can't really refute that. Like, you don't know. But most of us don't know why we're doing the thing that we're doing. And we sometimes feel like we have to uncover it. But I don't think you necessarily have to uncover it to make a change. You can simply decide and make that new commitment going forward. This is how I will act. This is how I'm going to handle money. This is how I'm going to look at it. You know, people, and that's why people don't want to do the money mindset work, is because they think they got to get to the root of it. You don't. You just have to make new decisions.
Oh, okay. Hold on. You just said something that was like, all right, so that was so good. Okay, so for the Amazon people, I don't know if y'all caught this, and some of you guys may have just joined, but I'm Romonica Plachette. I'm the bold chick. I'm the host. I'm with Takisha Artis. She is a CPA. She is a financial life coach, and we're talking because this is Financial Literacy Month. I'm a business owner. There are people who are watching. You may even know someone who's, family member, friend, who's a entrepreneur, business owner, and they may just need to know a little bit more about money stuff. And so please make sure that you let people know that we are live so that they can join us. You know what to do, aka share it. Okay. So those of you who are with us on Amazon, I don't know if you just caught it, but what Takisha just said is like, if your money story is jacked up, okay, or you are not where you want to be financially, what she's saying is this. Oftentimes, because I've heard this too, you got to go back to the root. You got to figure out, and sometimes that's traumatic for people. So they don't want to go back. And
Yes.
so because they don't want to go back, they're just like, look, forget it. It is what it is. I'm
Yes.
gonna make what I'm gonna make and just be done with it. But I love this because this is in alignment with what I read earlier, or what I was listening to earlier today about these money stories, right? And one of the things that you just said is like, make a decision. We're adults, so we get to make our own decisions. We do know. We
Mm-hmm.
say we don't know because we don't want to deal with it, but we do know. So it's make a
Yep.
decision, and it's like, what do you want your new story to be? So the new story might be,
Yes.
hey, I don't want to say 100K because boy, everybody says that. And I don't want to say $1 million because everybody says that. So I'm going to say, let's just say you want to make $135,000.97 per year. I know it's random, but hold on to that, right? So if that's the thing that you want, that's your new story. But for those of you who are tuned in on Amazon with us, I just put up the Rocket Book. Now, why did I put up the Rocket Book? The Rocket Book is it's a notebook, it's a journal. It comes with, I wish I had mine nearby. I'm sorry, I don't. But basically, it's a note. It's the one-stop shop notebook because it allows you. And guys, it's up in the carousel right now. This is going to allow you to write down what you want. So write
Yeah.
down that number that you want. What's so cool about it is if you have someone like a Takisha in your corner who might be your CPA or the person who's guiding you financially, now what you're able to do with the Rocketbook document is you're able to snap it with your phone and you're able to upload it to like a Google Drive, which is how the Rocketbook works. Listen, you can take a picture,
Okay.
you can add it to a spreadsheet. You can email it to yourself. So it's like, we have all of these tablets because it's me. I have a lot of tablets, but I've converted over to the Rocketbook type of system because the Rocketbook allows me to write it with the invisible ink pen and I can save it. I can share it with other people, but that document is now forever. So I can go back in and erase that page and start fresh. So if you guys don't have a Rocketbook, you've never heard of the Rocketbook, highly, highly recommended because it is that one place where you can write your new story. You can write your goal. If you need to track your money throughout the day or just set your goals for the week, for the month, for the quarter, for the year, you can do it all in the Rocketbook. There's an app on your phone. You take a picture of it and you can upload it to 6 or 7 different places and bam, just like that. It's $22. You can reuse this thing over and over again. It is super cool. So guys, pick up your Rocketbook. Like, just definitely check that out because it will allow you to streamline your process, but it's also a place where you can write out your new story, like write out the things that you
Yes.
want to do financially, which is a question that I want to ask Takisha. And while she's answering, I'm going to pan it over to her and I'm going to grab the Rocketbook so you guys can actually see it. But the question that I'd like to ask is, what is the number one thing for someone who's like maybe they just don't really know because, maybe big mama, grandmama, whoever raised them didn't know. And so their money story is around not what family, well, it is around what their family didn't tell them or what they didn't know. But so how do they do like a reset? I got it. Change my mindset, decide who or what. Okay, but then what do I do? Like, what if my money is just jacked and all over the place? Like, now what do I do?
So now that you have changed your thought, so the habits come after our thoughts. And so we want to make sure that you have a new thought process. And so now that you have a new thought process, what new habits are you going to have? And so the thing with money is also identifying what area you want to have these changes in. Is it in saving? Is it in investing? Is it in making more money? Is it in setting new financial goals, new revenue goals? Like, what area of finance is it that you want to work on? And then work on those things. The key is to identify the area and where in your weakness in it and what changes you need to be made. Um, I think we lost her. Oh, you're back.
I'm back. I ran to get the
Okay.
Rocketbook because that's how my
So
brain
in terms
works.
of that was fast. So when it comes to making the change, now that you have your thought process change, you want to make sure that you now create new habits. And so, depending on what area it is, what new habits now do you want to create? And so, if it's something like, you want to make more money, what money generating activities can you create or that will help bring in more revenue? If it's you feel like you're spending too much, how can you go through your finances and your expenses and reduce something. You know, a lot of people think that you shouldn't reduce because it brings this constrictive energy, but I disagree. You need to cut back so that you can have a profitable business. All businesses review their expenses not out of scarcity, but out of good stewardship. So I really want to make sure that's
Uh-oh. All right, so she'll be right back. So while we're waiting for Takisha to come back, I want to say hello to Gavin. What's going on? Looks like Sebastian, what's up with stocks? Okay, so we'll see if let's see.
okay.
All right, so someone
I
was
got the
just
Rocket book too.
oh, you got a Rocket book? I ran and grabbed the Rocket book. Like, I love it, guys. Let me show y'all this real quick because I'm going to put another thing up. So these are all of the different places where you can actually save your document to, and you get to decide which one of these things will determine where the document goes. You just write in it, and then whenever you're done, there's a little tab, a little cloth. You erase it, and you get a pen, an invisible ink pen, and you literally just keep going. So I love this. I have like two of this, a larger one and a smaller one that I can just kind of throw in my purse. So definitely check that out. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put another item up because again, one of the things that I have heard you say over and over again. Thank you guys for joining. So I'm about to put something up in queue right now that is freaking 70% off, guys. We got a code on this next item. It is 70% off. It's in my own personal cart and it wound up coming up to $3. So if you are watching live right now, sorry, people who are watching this on another platform as a replay, look, the code might not be valid, but if you're watching live right now, there is a planner that is over on Amazon. And those of you who are watching this on another platform, inside of the chat on the other platforms, I actually have how you can join us on Amazon. So just click there and come over with us on Amazon. You'll be able to shop, add things to your cart. But there is a planner, because I don't know if y'all heard Takisha say, write it down, write it down, write it down. Mm-hmm. Now, so this planner right now is $3. Y'all get one, okay? So it's going to go into your cart at the listed price of $9.99. However, because there is a promo code that has been added tonight, you're going to be able to get this journal at 70% off. So that means it's $3 right now at the time of this live stream. So make sure that it is in your cart. Yes. Do not reach out to me tomorrow like, hey, Ramonica, I tried to get it and it's not $3. I'm sorry, sweetie. It was today. It was like, so get it right now. Okay. That's what I'm sharing with you. Because I believe that there is some power in writing things down. And that's the one thing that I've heard you say over and over is like, and I say we because I'm someone who understands some of what to do, but I'm also that person that can just like get off course on that, right? If I'm being in full like transparency. And I think that's one of the things that is tough. I'll never forget saying to the lady that I mentioned earlier, her name is Teresa Graham. She was my old corporate boss. And I just remember her saying, okay, ladies, y'all are not carrying any debt. You need, if you have some, put yourself on a budget. You need to pay it down like right now. And I just remember like going home that night, getting out a notepad, bringing everything to the table. I think it's intimidating, but it's so important. Bringing it so necessary to the table. And it's like, it's one of those things that it's something I need to do right now. It makes you feel sometimes like uncomfortable because again, when you say we know what we should do and when we haven't done that, it's like, like, dang.
I feel like there is, I think when you're doing it, it may be intimidating, but after there's power in knowing your financial position. There's power, even if it's a negative, net worth or it's a low or high amount of debt. There is power in knowing what your financial situation is because now you have a starting point of where you want your goals to go. You cannot create great goals if you do not even know where you're starting. You can't create wealth if you don't know how much debt you have. You cannot create wealth if you are not investing or saving towards something. You have to know that, and there's power in that, and there's celebration in knowing your financial position. And I think if we create more of a positive momentum around knowing the numbers, then a lot more people will start to look at the numbers. But it's not intimidating. It wasn't intimidating when you were spending. It wasn't intimidating when you were swiping. So, use that same kind of momentum and say, you know what, I made those decisions. I'm going to make a decision to know where I stand today.
Honey, let me say this. So, first of all, I'm sitting over here trying to add that as a banner and as a ticker, but it's too many characters. When you just said there is power in knowing your financial position, that just hit my
Yes.
whole entire soul. Like, that is such a powerful place, because I believe that whether it's with money, starting a business, exercising, whatever goal we want to do, until we have all of the facts and until we sit down with the thing, whatever that thing is, in this case, we're talking about money, it's like you're really telling yourself a story in your head that is untrue. And then what happens
Yeah.
is you start to magnify it. And let's not throw in social media, which has the capacity to really make you feel like maybe you haven't done what you were supposed to do. And so now you may totally be on the run from your money, the lifestyle that you want, the new job,
Yes.
starting the business, dating, getting married, having kids, whatever it is that you want, until you sit down. And that's why y'all need to get your journal or rocket book, until you sit down and literally write it down, or as the old folks say, face your demon. You won't know. And that
Yes.
story just, it's
You
like a
won't.
broken record that is scratched. It just keeps like, and the more you replay that scratched up record, the worse it gets. And that's the story that replays in the head. I've done that before in different areas in my life. So when you said it, I was like, oh snap, that's dope. Like, it's a tweetable, full
Yes.
blown tweetable.
So let me share something with you. So one of my certifications is in NLP, and so that's neuro linguistics programming. And so it's really the study of the thoughts, the brain. And one of the things that I learned, and mind blowing, the average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day. Of those, 80% are negative. 80% are negative, and 95 are exactly the same thoughts every day. So, yes, we are repeating negative thoughts 95% of the time, day after day after day. So when people think about their money situation and it's negative, yes, it's very hard to overcome the thought process of thinking positive because you've been programmed to think negative. And that's why I say it's about making a new decision. Because you've been thinking negative for so long, you have to decide that this is no longer the story you want to tell. And now that you don't want to tell this story, what's the new story? But also, what's the new support? And that's where I think, books and journaling and, podcasts really play a big part in it, because now that you're considering this new thought, you need that support to go in alignment with it. The mind will find support for whatever it believes. So if you believe this particular story, your mind will automatically find supporting evidence for it. So now that you find this new positive information, you have to train your brain to find that new positive support. That's why finding, podcasts or mentors or books about the new things that you want to believe is so important. You need the evidence. If not, you go back to the old thinking. That's why, this resistance when it comes to money is deep. People think, oh, I'm just going to start this. You've been thinking that way for a very long time, over and over again. So you need to, really commit and make new commitments with yourself that this is the new story and the new narrative.
Whoa. No words. When I say, okay, gyms, bars, everything like that, I don't even have any words. I'm never without words, but oh my god, that was that was so amazing. That was so freaking dope. Okay.
You should drop, I don't know if you have the link for it, but this is where you definitely should drop the link for one of my favorite books, Secrets of a Millionaire Mind.
Okay.
Um, this book really shifted a lot of things for me, especially because of you don't know that you're necessarily thinking small compared to a millionaire. You don't necessarily know that, and he compares poor thinking to millionaires. And it's not poor in the sense that of money, it's poor in the sense of thought, where one thinks of opportunity, where another one thinks of problems, where one thinks of, you know, constant access to resources, where one thinks of it in a different way. So it's how are we thinking differently and how to think differently when it comes to money. And that book really let me know that there are a lot of us who have $1 million ideas, but unfortunately, our thoughts will keep them hidden. You know, another good book, Think
I
and
just put
Grow
that
Rich.
one up in the chat.
So Think and Grow Rich is another one. It's a great read. It took me forever to read it because it was boring and it has these old what I call like prehistoric examples. But what it did was it does show you that it's all in what you think.
Mm.
A lot of entrepreneurs aren't where they want to be, not because they don't have the right strategy, but they don't have the right mindset. A lot of people aren't wealthy not because they don't have the money, but they don't have the right mindset to even think or that they deserve even more money. A lot of
Mm.
entrepreneurs stay small because they don't know that they should be millionaires, or they don't think that it's even, they're even capable of it, or they're scared to be millionaires because they think that they can't handle it. So I think these two books, they really show you that what you think plays more of a part in your success than the strategy does. Yes, you absolutely need the strategy, but you need the right mindset first. The strategy will never take you where your mind isn't going to. We
Whoa.
don't think about, we aren't taught to think. We're taught to be consumers. We're taught to spend, but we aren't taught to invest and create wealth. And so these two books, they really take they give you a new perspective on it. And that's where, for me, it was, oh, well, maybe I can be a millionaire. Well, what does that look like? Well, how does a millionaire think? What qualities do they have? We always talk about you don't know what you don't know, but that's part of your learning as an entrepreneur, is to start to uncover those things that you don't know and expose yourself to it. We always want to, where's the mentor? Well, sometimes you have to create the mentor for yourself through, a lot of these books, and, really apply those things. But what I found is it's always been the thinking. When I talk to my friends who have made millions, it's always, I had to change my thinking. I had to change my thought process, or I had to change environments. It's never, I had to do things really differently first. They found a strategy, but they had to change the thinking first. And I think for me, that's definitely what it was. I knew the strategy. I took all the classes. I took all of the, programs. I was in every, but why am I not doing these things that I've been taught? It was the mindset. And for me, like I said, it was, I've been taught to go to school. Now I want to be an entrepreneur and make money from my skills and what I know. Who's going to pay for that? So I was at war with myself, really. And so I had to give it a new story. Same thing with showing up on social media to make money. You know, people tell you show up on social media and bring in the sales, and it was like I'm from behind the scenes. I'm the numbers girl. How you want me to sell? Like, how? I don't like the pushy. I don't like the aggressiveness. But I have to tell a new story of selling is just me having a conversation on how I can help you. Again, changing that perspective, changing that narrative. We have to do that. You have to become aware of what you're thinking and what you're doing when it comes to money. Period. Period. You don't got to find the root cause of it. It may come up. There are certain things why. And I'm not really concerned about why. I want to tell this new story. So that's more important to me than figuring out what happened 10 years, 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. You just took it to like a whole new level. When you said, oh man, so many gems, so many. I feel like this is a masterclass. Like, if we were not streaming on Amazon right now, this would be like a full the information that you've shared. This is masterclass type of information for those people who are listening that get this. I am telling you, these are gems and bars galore. And so if you are just tuning in, I encourage you to go back and listen to this, because this is epic. This is epic. Like, these are the things, and I know this because in my whole life, like, so I have these books up, guys. They're in the carousel. So I want to share a real quick story, because I know what you're saying is so true. So my dad's deceased, but growing up, my dad was always a reader. My dad hit a lot of those first benchmarks, if you will. But one of the things that I learned from my dad was this power of the mindset. And my dad was reading a book. It's called, I think it's by David Schwartz. It's The Magic of Thinking Big. It's old school, but when I was a younger person, I'm still younger. I could go into this book and I could read not even the whole chapter. I could read a couple of lines, maybe a paragraph, and that would carry me through for months, maybe an entire year. So I have been in and out of this book my whole entire life, because I can read a thing or I can hear a thing. For those of you who are here listening right now, if you are really focused on what Takisha's saying, tap in, because these thoughts that we have, positive or negative, is what's shaping our future and our money situations, right? And so we get a chance, I'm recapping we get a chance to write or create a full-blown new narrative based on what we desire right now, without going back way deep into what the ancestors used to do and like run with it, right? Run with it. But I mean, I was having this conversation with somebody else. It seemed like the ancestors were doing a little bit more with money. They didn't have a lot of it, but were they doing more?
So I think so if we're going to talk about the ancestors, I think the ancestors still live in us today. And that's why we have a lot of scarcity. And that's why we have a lot of things that we need to give new narrative to. We're still operating out of scarcity when we are really in abundance.
Oh,
and so we're running from money because it's uncomfortable to hold on to it. I have clients who will make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they're so uncomfortable holding on to the money that they have nothing to show for it but debt. And so it's like, well, let's put money aside. And it's like it makes them uncomfortable to have more than enough. So we're constantly challenging this narrative of it's okay to have extra. It's okay to have more than enough. But that's that scarcity thinking of, if I don't spend it, I may lose it, or I may never get it again. That's what the ancestors taught us, but that was their reality. That's not our reality now. But we're holding on to that same message. Come back. I know, ladies, glue the wigs back down. I know I
Baby, I'm
snatched
about
some
to
hands
leave my
today.
own broadcast. Do you understand? I'm about to just take a run through.
Come back. But yes, that's why we have a lot of these borrowed beliefs that we really need to let go of. But unless you are open to knowing and observing them, you don't know. That's why I say sometimes we don't need to go back to the root of it to figure it out. It's just, you know what, I haven't been doing this and I know better, and I'm going to make a new commitment and a new decision, and then I'm going to find new exposure experiences. We want to hang with the same people doing the same things, yet we're trying to go to the next level. Make it make sense. You want to have new clients and you want to grow your business, but you don't want to put yourself out there and sell. So it's those stories that we keep telling ourselves again over and over that we have to start observing. We have to bring awareness to it. And when you bring awareness to it, that resistance, I'm not saying that the resistance goes away, but you understand the resistance. You understand the self-sabotage a little more so you can adjust when it happens, because it will happen again because you've been telling that same story. So when it happens, you're like, you know what? I know what this is. This is my fear of overflow. Oh, I know what this is. This is me wanting to be accepted. So let me put the credit card away. I don't need this right now. This is me being scared of abundance. So that means I have to show up more and sell. This means, it's so many dynamics when it comes to money, because money is really very emotional. We have so many emotional ties. That's why I'm a financial life coach, because it's not just about the money. It's how is it impacting your life? How is it impacting the quality of life? How is it impacting your experiences? How is it impacting on what your views are on wealth and success? A lot of people, they want the wealth and success, but they don't even know what that means to them. They're looking at what social media says success looks like. And I promise you, success does not have a look.
Oh, please
It does
say
not
that.
have a look.
Please say that
It
to the
doesn't
person
have.
that thinks they got to buy all of the expensive
Yes.
everything to live the luxury life, and that's not it.
That's not it. I have two friends who are millionaires, and when I say they are probably some of the most frugal people that I've met, because they realize, like, I'm already rich. I don't have to look this way. I'm already rich. I don't have to have the latest and greatest car, because they're trying to establish a different type of wealth, and wealth that isn't outwardly seen. They're creating experiences. They're creating this peace. They're creating financial security for generations. I used to say that, when you look at people, what you really see is how much they've spent. That's not wealth. You can say, okay, well, this person has on $1,000 outfit. That's how much they spent. That doesn't equate to this is how much this person is worth.
Okay. Again,
I know. I just had to slide that on in there.
honey, this is a whole Amazon masterclass for the people who get what you're saying. They know that this is very valuable information. I have something that I want to ask you a question about, because it's a post that you made and it resonated with me so much. Like, I was always tracking with you, but when I saw that post, it made me track with you even more. But I want to know if you have a hack, or what I want to go a little bit deeper with you. And this is kind of like, this is off the grid. Okay, so I saw a post that you made, and it was like, hey, I'll basically won't tell you how much money I make, because you kind of don't need to know that, right? So, and I agree with you 100%. When I came to the social space in 2016, I was kind of blown away that people were posting their money, because I came from a corporate environment, and we just didn't walk around like, hey, here's my paycheck. Look at how much money I made. And we made great money, but we just occasionally we might show it to a new person who needed a little motivation, who needed to see down the road, but it wasn't posted anywhere. It was just like that person, it was almost like someone that you were mentoring, or maybe it was one of your, for me, it was a store manager who was like, I'm just not seeing the big picture. And me saying, well, I was where you are, and let me show you where I am now. And I'm going to do what I need to do to help you get here. So in those instances, we would share, but it was never like sent out in an email or anything like that. But on social, people think, especially now more, I find people are, I find that it seems like 95% or 85% of the people feel like I got to show social proof, especially a lot of the entrepreneurs. I don't see it so much with service based, but definitely coaches, consultants. I said, hey, I just made 250,000. Talk to me about, where do you think that came from? Because I was really curious when, again, it was a turnoff for me when I first saw it. I was like, why are people telling their money? And then I was like, dang, I don't want people to know that. What if someone tried to get at me for money because of what I post? Like, people make assumptions anyway about what I have. And it's like, can I borrow $200? Like, I don't have $200 to give you. I got a kid in college, so I ain't got no extra money to just give to this random person. So it's like when I see people post that they just made XYZ, I'm like, oh, but they
So
social proof.
So I think, like you said, it's that social proof. We want receipts. So to the it also depends on what they're selling, right? And so for the entrepreneurs who are using that, they're most of the time are trying to sell their framework. So if I show you that I made 100,000, you're more likely to buy into using me for a coach, whatever, or my products or services because I've made that money, right? And so I think that's where it came from. It came from a place of let me show you what I'm doing so that you can buy into working with me because I've made it. What people don't kind of connect is just because a person is showing you their framework doesn't mean it works for your business.
Yes.
Or that may not be the only way that they make money. So I made a conscious decision not to share my numbers anymore because it just didn't feel safe anymore. And so there are a lot of users and a lot of people who are they want to be associated with you. And so it starts to become a little bit harder to differentiate who's a friend and who's a user. And so I just made the decision that if you wanted to work with me, know that I got money. Period. Know my credit is good. And this is the thing. Just because I have money I can't guarantee you gonna have money. You got to do the work. You have to make sure that your mind is correct. You're putting these processes into place. So I'm showing you, yes, I have this, but I'm not showing you my bank statement. I'm not showing you my credit score anymore. I'm not showing you those things because it just didn't feel safe. Especially as a woman, a single woman, I'm dating. So it's like, okay, well, did you see my post that I made about this? Or are you genuinely like, hey, I think you're a nice woman? So I just made the decision that that's just not something that I wanted to do. And those who did, great. But that's just not for me. And I know a lot of coaches agreed with that post, and they were saying that they would, put their clients' wins out there. But I've even saw some of the clients say that they didn't want those posted because it still went back to them. So it does become this, well, I need to show that my process, my framework, my business does this in terms of testimonials. But I think we need to change the narrative of what is a really good testimonial, because and it's a great win when you have a coach and you say, hey, I just made my first 6 figures, or I have made this. But I've seen them say, hey, I don't want to say how much I made because I don't want that to come back onto me. So I think, it's just changing the narrative of, what success looks like. And, yes, in some instances we should be showing the numbers in terms of, yes, I made 100% more, or 200% increase in terms of percentages, but in terms of dollars, it's just not for me anymore. Especially the different climate that we live in. I just don't feel like, in certain instances it's safe.
No, I
And so
agree with you 100%.
I'd rather be safe, and like you said, people wonder anyway, and you may be right, you may be wrong. I'm with you. I got a college kid.
Right.
Who knows?
Exactly. Like at the end of the day, when I went to make a decision that I was going to work for a said corporation, I had done my own research about whether or not I wanted to work with that company. And I think that on social, people are so pressed to try to get the shortcut's not the word I want to use. It's like they want the shortest path, the shortest path to the cash, that they believe that if I go work with said big name person who made $4.5 million last year, that they will have the same result because they work with that person. Proximity does not guarantee cash and power per se, right? So nothing happens until that work is actually done. But I think in their head, they hear the name and boom, they want to do it. So one of the examples that I always share is like Super Scent. Like I remember when she was on social, just cutting up. She wasn't selling anything. She was just doing her thing, like building an audience. But people who don't know the backstory will think that she just popped up and started making this money without building an audience, when actually she was building an audience years prior, which allowed her to pop up and make that. And so if someone just tried to jump in on her year 12, they're not going to get the same result, because she had laid down this 12-year framework that led to where she is right now. And if people could get this, I'm going to be able to make $2.5 million from ground zero without having this earth shattering idea. It's like, hey, you're always going to have to do the work, or you're going to have to pay somebody to do it for you. And until you trust yourself enough to know that you are hiring the right coach or consultant because you've done your due diligence, you will
Yes.
always be chasing after, oh, I'm going to want to work with this person because they made 20 mil. They did, but they've been in the game doing the work for a minute, and you just showed up with zero skills, zero list, zero. You're at zero. You can't be at zero and get to where they are in year 12 in 2 months.
Yes. And so from a financial perspective, I've had clients who they've made, they have this desire to make the millions. And I've recently had a client, and she was like, I want a million by any means. And I'm like, but you aren't making profit. You're the money you're making, you're immediately spending. And so where does this drive to get to these goals stop and say, hey, but what is it costing me to get there? Everyone now, a couple years ago, it was everyone wanted to make six figures. Now everyone wants to be a millionaire. And I get it. It's a great aspiration to have. But what is it costing you to get that? And is that your true goal? And is that your next goal? Like some people are like, hey, I made 10,000. I'm like, right, a month? They're like, no, a year. I do believe in God. However, you should be talking to God, not me, about this goal. Cause right now I'm just like, I can't see it. Like how did you go from 10,000 a month, a year, to you want a million? Like, can we get to six figures first? Like, can we 10x it? And then we'll 10x it again. So I think sometimes, they see these things and they immediately want it. And I'm always like, but that six figures may not even be your next goal. It could be, how much does it cost to live the life that you want? Make that your next goal. So I think there's a lot of thinking that is not ours. We are setting goals based off of what we see others want. We are setting aspirations based off of what we see others have. We think we want the life of someone else. What is it that you want? And I think that's why a lot of things don't come into fruition, is because we really don't know what we want. And I know in Think and Grow Rich, that's one of the first things he talks about. What is it that you really want? And I know a lot of people cannot answer that question when it comes to money. What is it that you want your savings account to look like? What is it that you want your revenue goal to look like? What is it that you want your profit goal to look like? And because they don't even know the number, they can't say how much debt do you need to get out of this year for your goal to happen. What do you need to invest in this year? Like, we can't have these conversations because we don't even know what we want. We're not going to even talk about the fact that we don't even have that starting point to say, this is even where I am.
Oh, so good. Oh, okay. Oh, someone just posted. Oh, hey, Freddie. She said, I want my child to have a much better start than I did as an adult. And I know you're gonna go somewhere with this. In the book that I'm reading, The Rich Bee, by, her last name is LePen. But anyway, she talks about writing things down, being specific, and she goes into writing down a year one goal, 3 goal, a 5, a 7, and a 10, because then it doesn't so overwhelming. Did my audio just get weird?
Mine did.
Okay. So guys, I know you. I know you for about an hour. I want to thank you so much for being here. And those of you who are watching, just a second. I want to put up Takisha's information so that you guys can follow her, because she's not here on the Amazon platform. So definitely make sure that you grab a photo of this. And listen, this has been like amazing, like full-blown masterclass. I'm super excited that you have been here with me this evening. I thank you tremendously.
Thanks talking to you. It was fun. We have to do it again.
Oh, 100%. All right, everybody. Bye.